Today marks 4 years since the murder of George Floyd. Minneapolis police initially brushed off his death as a medical incident during a police encounter. But his death would spark a tide of protests and policy. Elise Preston sat down with his family and the loved ones of others killed in law enforcement interactions who say they still haven't seen the changes they've been advocating for.
I truly believe Trayvon's name will live on.
It will.
It will.
It definitely will.
A course of determination. These are families thrown into advocacy while in the midst of agony after their loved ones died at the hands of those working to protect public safety.
This is a movement. This is not a moment.
The families of Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, George Floyd, and Tyree Nichols sat down in Memphis as the National Civil Rights Museum hosted a symposium tackling police violence.
What does that justice look like to you?
Going to jail for 100 years.
Nichols' mother, Rovon Wells, has spent the last year and a half fighting to see the conviction of 5 Memphis police officers, seen here beating her son in 2023. One officer has pleaded guilty to federal and state charges, while the other 4 have pleaded not guilty.
It's difficult, of course, because you want everything to happen right away. You want them to go to jail because this is what happened to your child. But at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to say, oh, it was a mistrial because of this.
We, the jury in the above entitled matter, find the defendant guilty.
George Floyd's family did see convictions of the officers involved in his murder. Floyd's last 9.5 minutes on earth captured on cell phone camera, sparking outrage and unrest in a time of global uncertainty. Floyd's murder boldly showing America what it could not mask in a pandemic. Racial injustice at the hands of police. His killing also opened difficult conversations about how racism plagues Black Americans across all facets of life. Floyd's brother, Philonis.
The narrative around the world basically saying, if I can't breathe, how can I survive?
Just a few years later, Pew Research shows support for the Black Lives Matter movement is waning.
We had conversations about race outside of policing. 4 years later, do you think we've made that progress?
I don't see no progression at all. We got to continue to put pressure on these people to pass these laws.
At least 25 states enacted use of force laws restricting neck restraints in the wake of Floyd's death.
At a federal level, what laws do you want passed?
First of all, I want that George Floyd Justice in the Policing Act passed.
That bill was reintroduced Thursday. It would increase law enforcement accountability and restrict certain policing tactics like chokeholds. What these families feel is a slow trickle for policing and justice reform fuels them to keep pushing for progress.
I can just feel, I guess, the resolve, the resilience in all of you. Do you think if you were on these individual journeys that your strength would waver a bit?
When people see us as a team, it's a force.
Yes.
So they know that we are not fighting this fight alone.
Gwen Carr lost her son Eric Garner in July 2014.
It's been 10 years since the world watched your son repeatedly say, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Carr worked for years to secure a ban on chokeholds in New York State. Now she's working to reach mothers, guiding those on the roller coaster of mourning and advocating for their slain children.
They feel like there's no justice out there. They don't feel that society thinks that they are worthy of justice.
It's the stories known and unknown Sabrina Fulton believes must be told.
We need to make sure that people are remembering what happened to these people, these tragedies, so that they can put themselves in our position and say, as a parent, I need to do what I need to do in order to make positive change.
A change they all desperately want to come. For CBS Saturday Morning, Elise Preston, Memphis, Tennessee.
I so remember how George Floyd's daughter said, my father's death will change the world. And it did. For a moment, people woke up in a way that they hadn't. But you see over and over again, attacks now on DE&I, attacks now on further attacks on the Voting Rights Act, this onslaught of going back to where we have been in the past. And so a lot of people are disheartened how so quickly we rubber band and the pendulum has now shifted back in a way that, many see isn't progress.
It doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep working for it and fighting for it.